give you some confidence in them Tennessee Vols,
Yeah.
who he currently, Shane, now this changes week by week based on the results on the field, what his data says, but he has got Georgia and Tennessee as the two legitimate playoff contenders from the SEC. He's going to break that down. And the way Dave sees it, Shane,
Yeah.
Alabama, Tennessee, the best example of what a playoff game is going to be of any game played this entire season. I asked him to go into further detail to break that down. So let's kick it over to Dave Bartoo, CFB Matrix. All right, we're pleased to once again be joined by the man himself, Dave Bartoo, CFB Matrix. It's always an honor to have you on the show, Dave. How you doing, buddy?
Oh my gosh, an honor, as my wife would say. Fooled another one. Oh, dude, I'm doing good. I'm totally nerding out here. So I'm working on. So each week, for our clients, we do a custom go no go situation on fourth down, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, 4th and 4, etc. And by field position, and it changes every week because it's their offense evolution versus the defense evolution. So it's kind of cool to see one week you tell your client, look, there's 12 situations to go for it on fourth down. It's worth more than 3 points, and then this week there's 3 situations because they're playing a tough defense and their offense regressed that bad. So, fun stuff. And we're halfway through the college football season. Pleasure to be back on with you.
Yeah. And what's fascinating about that, Bartoo, you told me, right before we started recording here that that changes based on opponent. And it changes, obviously, annually. So you've got to go much, much deeper than just this damn chart that all these coaches reference. That's probably from 1985. You know what?
I swear, anybody on TV that says the word analytics or chart is just, they're talking out of their butt. Seriously. I mean, show me this chart, right? Because you think about it. Just a quick 30-second logical discussion, right? College football evolves every year. So, even if Georgia played South Carolina every week, would you use the same go, no-go chart in week 1 and in week 4 and week 8 and in week 12 against the same opponent? No, because your offense would evolve. It would get better or it would get worse. Their defense would get better or get worse, And so the whole idea of using a chart based on the last 5 years of going for it on fourth down is stupid. Using last year's chart is stupid. Using the same chart for a different team, that's stupid. It really is because it doesn't make any sense. Now, it might work out once in a while. You win a coin flip, but until you actually break down the position on the field, your offense versus their defense, and don't forget, if you don't get it, you got to understand the field position you're giving up going the other way. So it's also your defense versus their offense. There's opportunity cost there. So, no, I cannot stand it when I'm listening to the TV and they say, well, the chart says this. Dude, I'd love to see this chart. Seriously. It's got to be made out of tissue paper or toilet paper because that's all that it feels like it's worth.
Well, one thing you did put out, I believe this was maybe Sunday, maybe Monday, but you adjust this every week based on the games that are played. Last 22 seasons, the national champion has come. They either have a top 3 scoring offense or obviously scoring defense. And now in the SEC, there's only 2, Tennessee and Georgia. How surprised are you to see Tennessee grouped into there?
Not at all. Not at all. I remember last year because we got votes for awards here at Matrix Analytical, and one of the guys that we voted for, because you're supposed to vote for your top 5 in order, and we always put Hooker in there. Because when you divided out his numbers, if you took his 9 games that he played or whatever it was, 9 or 8 last year, and divided it out and then multiplied it times actually a 12-game schedule, he should have been in New York. He was awesome. So is this a surprise? No, it's not, because he was doing this last year. You couldn't see it because it wasn't in context of a 5-0 team. right? I mean, this was a team that was that didn't have the record to get the national recognition. Now, would Tennessee have been this good last year? No, because the defense is top 20 in the country right now. So it's a totally different view of Tennessee right now. In fact, they're 14th for Vols fans that really want the right number. Mm-hmm. But this has been a really good offense last year when Hooker was quarterback. So, no, it doesn't surprise me that they're there, because also you look at Heupel, he's done this everywhere he's been. Dude, he had Missouri talent. He was putting up great numbers. Okay, UCF putting up good numbers, right? So he's done it at two different places. At Missouri, he had much lesser talent than what he was facing. So we had a really good sample size on him. And so offensively, the guy is a 5-star offensive coordinator since 2010. Of all offensive coordinators, he's in the top 15 percentile. So, no, none of this should really be surprising anybody at all, because both of these guys have already done this before.
Now, David, I know you're so popular. You're doing interviews all across the country. So I apologize. I don't remember which interview this was that I heard you say it, but Alabama at Tennessee, you said, refresh my memory if I get this wrong, but I think you basically said this is as close to a college football playoff game that we've gotten so far this season. Can you share some insight on that comment?
It might be the best game we get. I bet you this is going to be better than the semifinal games. I mean, it's going to be awesome. I mean, if there was one place, if there was one college football ticket to have that is going to be unbelievably loud and energetic, it would be at Knoxville this weekend. Because number one, you got a fan base starved to be in the spotlight again in the Vols. Okay. You have a number 1 recruiter, Alabama. You have a number 14 recruiter, 13 recruiter in Tennessee. So talent level off the charts, both sides. Okay. You got the number 3 in offensive scoring efficiency in Tennessee. You got the number 4 in offensive scoring efficiency in Alabama. Okay. You have the number 4 defensive scoring efficiency in Alabama. You got number 14 defensive scoring efficiency in Tennessee. From a nerd standpoint, from a pure football, who's played the best football this year? These are two. There's of the top 5 teams of total team scoring efficiency. These are 2 of the top 5. This is literally as good as it gets in college football. This will be better than a semifinal playoff game. This is absolutely awesome. I am so looking forward to watching this game this weekend, and I don't watch a whole lot of them.
And it's very difficult to handicap because we don't know Bryce Young's status, or even if he does play, what percentage. I guess you want to put, I don't think he's going to be 100%, but whatever percentage he's able to play, maybe kind of changes your opinion of the outcome of the football game. But what does your numbers say about this showdown?
Oh, not even numbers wise. I mean, this is really more of a gut feeling, right? I mean, if you're going straight numbers and you expect Bryce Young to play at 100%, you take Alabama. They're the number 1 total team scoring efficient. They're the number 1 team in the country in total team scoring efficiency. Tennessee's number 4. All right. Now, if Young isn't going to go, and you got a backup out there, I'm taking Tennessee, right? Because we just don't know exactly what Alabama is without Bryce Young. With him, number 1 team in the country so far. All right. Without him, I don't know. So I'm going to take Tennessee at home and their top 3 offense. And I guess that's my handicap right there. I wouldn't even bet anything with a spread. Just give me a money line. Bryce Young's in, I'll take Bama. Bryce Young's out, I'm taking Tennessee.
Now, one team that's not even playing this weekend, Bartoo, but I wanted to ask you about Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M, his coach effect grade. I mean, that's the number I cite time and time again when these Aggies are coming at me about, hey, I'm not trying to – I got nothing against the guy personally, but you just look at his coaching grade. How's he doing so far this season?
Well, just this. I mean, he's minus 2 games coach effect, and for everybody listening, coach effect is something I came up with over a decade ago to try to explain the difference in recruiting. In the SEC, 70% of all your conference games are won by the better recruiter, no matter where it's played, home or on the road. Okay, the difference, if you lose that game, is you just got out-coached, right? So you have positive coach effect and you have negative coach effect. So Mississippi State vastly being out-recruited by A&M. Look, A&M's the number 3 recruiter in the country. Okay, there's only 4 teams that had the coaching staff, the performance last year, and the recruiting to be considered a high Tier 1 level national championship team: Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas A&M. So all this hype about Texas A&M is completely deserved, because they have everything. They have the coaching, they have the talent, they have all of it. What they don't have is a head coach. He was a mid-grade. He was a C-grade head coach coming into A&M. This year, 131 head coaches. Only 12 of them are at -2 coach effect and worse. He's at -2 right now. I mean, this is single-digit recruiting. You do that to win a national title. Last year, he lost 4 games. He was one of the worst in coach effect last year as well. He loses 2 more football games, and it's back-to-back -4 years. The last guy to do that was Scott Frost. Okay, just to give you some context. 8-4, 7-5 might be okay, not for a top 5 recruiter, not for national championship talent. It's not good enough, and I don't think it's ever going to get good. I really don't. You look at his grade that we have for him in relation to all the other head coaches in college football over the last 13 years, and he's middle of the road. Absolute middle of the road. And Aggie fans can say what they want, but the numbers back it up that for him to overcome what he has been for his entire career, it would be an anomaly. For him to win that big again would be a complete anomaly. He has everything in place. He just needs a really good head coach.
Now, on the flip side, Lane Kiffin, he's doing a hell of a job for the Ole Miss Rebels. They're hosting Auburn, of course. I would imagine this is, Ole Miss is going to win comfortably. What's your numbers say about this game? And, Brian Harsin likely on his way out.
Suck, dude. This game should suck. I can't believe it was a 2-touchdown spread. The difference in scoring efficiency year to date, the difference between Vanderbilt and Georgia is exactly the same as Auburn and Ole Miss. Auburn walked into this game with the 114th scoring efficiency in the country. 114th. And they're going up against the number 17 defense. Their number 63 defense is going up against the 15th most efficient team in college football. If they keep it within 3 touchdowns, nice job, good effort. But this is a team offensively that is absolute bottom of the bucket right now. And obviously the worst in the SEC, but the numbers just aren't there. Now, whether Harsin makes it or not, I don't know. Probably what we're probably going to witness, this is what wouldn't surprise either one of us, right? Mississippi absolutely smokes Auburn, and that dude's their new head coach. Right? You can't beat him, join him. Just back the truck up. Because Lane, arguably, over the last 6 years, I mean, he's turned it around more than I've ever seen a head coach turn around in a career, ever. Before FAU, after FAU, night and day, 180 degrees. I've never seen it happen in such a stark contrast. And it's not just the performance on the field. Everybody gets caught up with that. But Lane is really good at staffing, or the guy who's in charge of staffing is really good at it. And he is a solid recruiter. FAU's recruiting took off while he was there, even though he was going through his coaches. So he's done a phenomenal job. And at Auburn, you're going to bump up a talent level, right? I mean, we walk into this season, Mississippi's at number 22 in the country. I got Auburn at 14. Who doesn't want to win an extra game a year, making the same amount of money? 8-4 to 9-3, 9-3 to 10-2. It makes sense to me. And he fits in the SEC. He fits the Auburn mentality, in my opinion, even though I'm 3,000 miles away. And that one makes the most sense to me right now. If Auburn's going to go out and pay a lot of money for somebody that fits their culture, I think it'll be Lane.
Now, what about this game? Bartoo, I'm having such a hard time handicapping it. LSU on the road at Florida. What do your numbers say about this matchup?
Oh, let's not even worry about trying to handicap it. Let's just enjoy the pressure cooker, right? I mean, in this weekend, look, I know Tennessee and Alabama both want to win bad, okay? But who needs a win more than anybody? I mean, Tennessee can lose. It'll be disappointing, but they don't need the win. Alabama doesn't need the win. Florida needs a win. Brian Kelly bloody hell needs a win. Really bad, right? And so I think this game, of all the SEC games, this one is really the most intriguing to me, because I think that's where the pressure is right now, because Billy and Brian both want W's or need W's perception-wise, probably more than anybody else. Now, if we're going to handicap it, the number I'm going to look at, I'm looking at the under, okay? Because LSU's offensive scoring efficiency year-to-date, I got them at 82nd. Florida's defense is 51st. Boom, edge of defense. Florida's offense, 54th. LSU's defense, 37th. Boom, edge defense. So, and this doesn't happen very much. You'd think it would happen more, but it doesn't happen very often where one side or the other is universally favored, whether it's be both offenses or both defenses. So in this football game, based on what these teams have done this year, whatever the number is, I'm under the total. I think that if we're handicapping a bet, I'm going to bet under the total on that. Slight scoring efficiency edge to LSU. On the season, LSU has been like 0.1 points better per snap than Florida, which at home, Florida might make up for it. This is, if there was going to be a close game overtime special, it would be this football game in the SEC this week.
Now, how about this one? This is an interesting one, Bartoo. Arkansas on the road at BYU. These Arkansas fans, my God, they want Barry Odom fired. They want Kendall Browse fired. Thoughts on Sam Pittman, if he needs to be firing coaches? I believe he doesn't even have a minus coach effect at this point in the season.
No, he doesn't. It's fine, dude. Arkansas fan, dude, you're the number 7 recruiter in 7-team division. You have a top 5 strength of schedule. It's brutal. You're going to get beat up. Your starting quarterback isn't there. You go ahead, try to find a better coach than Odom and Bryles. Knock yourself out. It's not going to really get any better. There's nobody out there to replace these guys with. Now, yeah, your defense and your offense are bottom 25% in the SEC right now. Things aren't working out the way you expected. But you recruit relative to everybody else in your division. You recruit like Cal and Stanford and Indiana, and Georgia Tech. And I know that's kind of a hard thing to deal with, but having great seasons at Arkansas is really, really hard. And what they've done the previous years has been great, but just simply 6 games into it saying, hey, this isn't working, let's fire these guys. Short term, that's just dumb. It ain't going to work. Long term, careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for, because I think Pittman really lucked into having Odom and Bryles available at the same time. They're still 2 awesome coordinators. You're not having a good year of it through 6 games. But if you're going to have a couple of coordinators for 10 years and play the long game, I'll take those guys anytime. They're just dealing with a talent differential that is very poor. They're always talent poor in the SEC. And that makes it really hard to win games when the best recruiter wins 70% of all the conference games.
How about Mississippi State on the road at Kentucky? And based on what I'm hearing, Bartoo, Will Levis will suit up for Kentucky. And after what we saw last weekend, that's a major, major upgrade at quarterback.
Oh, man, 7 points against the Flying Beamers. Woo! Now look, I love Clayton White. I like that hire. I don't like Satterfield. He wasn't good before, and he still isn't very good. The scoring efficiency at South Carolina has been poor the entire time he's been there, and I don't ever expect to see it improve. I did expect to have White improve the defense. Now, he was gifted Levis being out. They put up 7 points. They're a top 25 recruiter, and they put 7 points up at home without Levis. So I've been saying the whole time, Levis is what's making this thing tick. He's better than Cohen. He's better than the current offensive coordinator. And without him, I think the team really is going to struggle next year. We saw maybe a window into it last week. So what we don't know, just kind of like Bryce Young, is Levis going to be 100%? How good is he going to be? Now, obviously, Levis hurt is better than the backup after last week, but how good is it going to be? I think the story in this game is the Kentucky defense, top 20 in defensive scoring efficiency. The Mississippi State offense, top 20. I think those are going to be a wash. I think the game comes down to how healthy Levis is. Coming into this game, They're 75th in the country in total scoring efficiency. Mississippi State's 45th in defensive scoring efficiency. To me, that's the matchup. I think the good offense, the good defense are going to wash themselves out. Levis is going to have to carry them to this win. But year to date, Mississippi State has been the much better team.
Final thing, Bartoo, outside the SEC, kind of, they're like the redheaded stepchild right now of the SEC. Oklahoma, Brent Venables. I mean, there were Sooner fans that legitimately thought they upgraded, kicking Lincoln Riley out or him leaving, more realistically, and getting Brent Venables. What's your numbers say on the start he's having, and do you think he even survives to coach in the SEC?
Oh, man, nobody said that was an upgrade. Come on. Maybe some former Sooner grad under a bridge on crack was saying it's an upgrade or something. I mean, nobody said that. Nobody. Stop making stuff up, Michael.
these fans, they were excited.
So they went. So Oklahoma. Okay, by our numbers, let's walk through it. Look, Lincoln Riley doesn't grade out high as a head coach because he really hasn't had to do much. Bob Stoops did everything for him. He hired everything, recruited everything. It was kind of made for him. Offensive coordinator, top 10 in the country, right? 5-star guy over the last 15 years. But he really hadn't done what we felt was really great head coaching work. But Venables has never been a head coach. How do you say that's an upgrade when he's never put on the head coach upset? Then he brings in Levy, who's never called a play. Then he brings in Ted Roof, who's barely above average. Now, Ted, here's where the pace pairing is killer. Ted's used to facing 50 plays a game, and he's barely above average at that point. But with Levy's pushing 80, 90 plays a game on him because he plays so fast. So now you got a barely above average defensive coordinator trying to struggle with double the plays that he's used to. Huge red flag. Offensive coordinator, never called plays before. We don't know if he's any good. Huge red flag. This had the makings of a train wreck before the season. In the last 3 weeks, the defensive plus offensive scoring efficiency at Oklahoma is bottom 20 in the country. It is bad. Now, does Venables survive it? I don't know. He's at -2 games coach effect right now. And you probably have followed me long enough to know that in your first year, if you finish at -4 or worse, there are only 6 guys in the last 22 years that have seen a contract renewal. 6. I call it dead man walking. So Venables, he's got 6 more games. If he loses 2 of them, he's at -4. So Oklahoma football is going to be fine. Venables, man, he is standing on a cliff that no first-year coach wants to be on.
Before you go, Bartoo, can you tell the audience where to follow you, all your work?
Oh, you can engage with me anytime on Twitter, CFB Matrix. And I am such a college football junkie. I even got a text line. If you got a question, you got an idea, you got a comment, whatever it is, I'll engage with anybody that's talking cool stuff about college football. That is 971-217-8419. Hit me up anytime.
Ooh, boy. I mean, he's firing everybody. He's giving us hope about the balls.
That's
How
right.
about it, Shane?
Hot Take Friday coming in hot, man. I love this, because there's a lot of hot seat talk and there's a lot of, optimistic fans out there. That's why I dubbed it Separation Saturday, just because I think we're going to get a reality check here with some of these programs. Maybe it's my Tennessee Vols. Maybe it's the Florida Gators. Maybe it's the LSU Tigers. Maybe we realize Kentucky's not as good as we thought they were. There's all these what ifs, but it all gets cleared up Saturday. That's the beauty of this. It's like, I feel like we're starting slowly getting a grasp of just how good the SEC is from top to bottom, but I still think there's some question marks that get